So we probably went close to a mile off course into the Black Desert, and there's shooting ranges and stuff out there. And this is a Saturday night, and so there's guns going off, and like you start seeing eyeballs in the.
Hello, people.
Hi.
We are back.
Where'd we go?
That's right. Okay, let's get down to business. What's going on in the world? GottaRunRacing.
Exciting times. We've got some swag appearing at our door this week.
Cool.
And for those of you that are on YouTube, you get to see the bag. And
Minus the green.
because it disappears on the green screen. And if you're listening and you want to see the bag, you can head over to GottaRunRacing
On YouTube, yeah.
So this bag, it's like a knapsack bag, but it's got our logo for the race, and it's
water resistant.
Yes, you can hear that. It's water resistant.
You
so
put the shoes in there at the drop bag.
It would make a really good drop bag for races, or just carry your shoes home after the event because you're muddy and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's one of your swag items for Rainbow.
Rainbow, which happens in
First weekend in August, which is not the long weekend.
Right. Cool.
All right.
And you can register at GottaRunRacing.com.
You got it.
Pound first.
You didn't say the but.
Pound butt first.
There we go.
/ hashtag.
Now we know why they say hashtag.
Yeah. That's true.
It just doesn't sound right.
Pound doesn't sound right. Okay.
Who's on the podcast today, you ask? Well, we have Dean Johnson from Lethbridge, Alberta.
One of the directors of Lost Soul.
And Lost Soul has been going on, I should say. Lost Soul has been going on for over 20 years. It's a 100-miler, 100K, 50K, and it's the only Canadian Western States 100K qualifier.
Yes, so a lot of people are somehow losing their souls at Lost Soul.
We'll find out how. And not only that, but he's a runner and a coach.
Yes, so we got lots to talk to him about all that.
Sure do.
And without further ado, here's Dean Johnson coming up.
Welcome to the podcast, Dean Johnson.
Well, thanks for having me. It's I've listened to many of your podcasts, especially when you've been interviewing some guests that have friends of mine and people I know, and people have come to our race. So it's I'm glad that I was introduced to you guys.
Well, your race has certainly come up a lot in our chats with our Western guests, for sure.
Our Canadian trail to Western states. A lot of people have done Lost Soul.
And
theoretically, it's an easy race, right? It's a prairie race. You only have to run 100 kilometers in 21 hours, and if you do the math, you could fast walk that. But and we only have there's 2 laps and 50K laps, and then there's 3,600 feet or 1,200 meters of elevation per lap, so it's pretty small, right? But man, the DNF rate even in the 100K is in the 25% range.
That's pretty good.
Well, we're going to definitely get into all that.
But first,
hashtag.
We'd like to actually start with your running history. So can you tell us how and when you got started running?
So, as a typical Canadian kid, playing hockey after you get out of school and stuff, and at Althood, and, having fun playing slow pitch, all the kind of the speed sports. And then, 40 hits and you start getting a little chunky, and you look at yourself in the mirror and go, who is that? And so, there was my sister's running group, just said, hey, come on out. And I think I did in grade 9, I did the Lethbridge 10-mile road race back in the late 70s. And that was just, grade 9. I didn't really run any distance stuff after that. So, moved 30 some years later and started running. I think it took me a couple of months to finish off that 10-miler that, was my previous peak. And then the Lethbridge, they actually started up their marathon. I think they might have had one back in the 90s, but in 2006, I think was their first bringing back the marathon to Lethbridge. So I said, okay, I started this running thing. I might as well do a marathon, right? And me and a friend, we suffered through it 4.5 hours, I think. In 2006, I think I just turned 41. So, and then I probably ran mostly roads for about 10 years. And I went, why do I want to run trails? Because, you're having to look at your feet all the time and stuff's going to hit you and stuff. And then I started running trails and in Lethbridge and so now I mostly run trails, but I still do some road stuff. And now I enjoy, going to races and the events. And so I ran the Lost Soul back in 2011 and suffered greatly. And then I don't know, that year there a couple of the race directors were looking at retiring, and there were still 2 that were sticking around, and they were looking for some people to jump in. So at first I said no, I'm busy with other stuff, and then they bugged me a couple more times, and I said no, well, okay, maybe. And that was 10, 11, 12 years ago. So, and it's been fun. So that's kind of me and my running and now race directing.
Right.
Cool. What of all the different distances that you did run, what is your favorite distance now?
Now I really enjoy like the 50 milers because you're still kind of trying to get done before sundown, and it's a little bit, it's more of an immersive experience yet. And so I have not done 100-mile yet. My wife said I could do it with my next wife when she's, said, I'm not putting up with your garbage for that long and the training, all that kind of stuff. So no, I'm probably gonna, cap out here at the 100K mark. I've done the Black Canyon down here in the Phoenix Valley, or just north of Phoenix, once, messed it up. And so I'm planning on signing up. So I think Friday is the sign up day. So I'm signing up on Friday for next year's 100K Black Canyon.
Wow.
Nice.
I like the fact that you like the 50-mile because you want to be done by dinner, right? Is that the goal? Yes. Be done by dinner. You've got a nice steak waiting for you. You got a beer waiting for you, and a great cheesecake.
Exactly. Like it's very civilized, right? You kind of run through the day, and you're kind of done just after sundown, depending on how your day went and when time the sun goes down. And you're really ready for a good, it doesn't have to be a good meal. It just has to be, fat and all the bad stuff. Just like a burger. I crave a burger after and it can be a McDonald's burger. I don't care. It can be a gourmet burger. Just a burger or something something has to have kind of died for me. And I kind of take that whole thing in. So it's kind of like, it's fun.
Talk about Black Canyon, the race that you did. Overall, how did you do, and how was it going to the start line? Were you prepared for this race?
Yeah, so that was a couple of years ago now, just before the crap storm of COVID hit. I thought I was well trained, and everybody goes into it. Well, I'm just training's not great, but I found one of my blind spots was I get wrapped up maybe chatting with people, and I kind of get off my own plan. So this is back 2019. Yeah, it was just prior to the pandemic. We were down here, and that was February of 2020. So the race is about to start, and you're kind of getting all pumped up and getting out there. And I find that I get maybe too social, and I end up chatting with people, and I'm probably starting to run their pace. And so this friend of mine, more of an acquaintance friend, I knew him from our own race, and I know he's way faster. And so I said, well, I'm just going to go out at this quote easy pace, right? And when you start especially a 100K, if you're going easy, well, you should still back off a bit. So I probably ran a little bit too fast for those first 10 miles, and that ended up catching up with me. And so I left him, and so a beautiful day. I trained for the heat, and so I stay completely covered. So I wear a big brimmed hat, arm sleeves, and everything, and I can pretty much handle it. So I think it got to like 26 degrees that day, which you think, well, it's not that hot. But out here in the desert, it's full sun, there's no shade, and that it reflects off the rocks and the sand. So, cruising along, not bad. And it was good until probably the night hit, and I end up catching up. And this is probably, I tell my clients and tell other runners, going, just be very careful that you're paying attention to the, where the flags and stuff are. And I think I caught up to this person. It was just dark, just after the Black Canyon aid station, so just after the 60-mile mark or whatever. Sorry, 60K mark. And I think I just kind of caught up with her and said, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And I think there was a turn right there. Both of us blew through the turn. So we ended up heading out. It was still on this kind of road, right? And then you get off this little, real rough road and you take the side trail and off you go. So we're, chatting away, and she's from Tucson area and, whatever. And we're going, and it's we don't see anybody. Haven't seen a flag for a little bit. It's probably been maybe 800 meters, a kilometer. And I haven't seen anybody for a while. So I kind of stopped. I look back and I yell back to the lady and I said, "Hey, have you seen a flag?" And she goes, "No." And so we probably went close to a mile off course into the Black Desert. And there's shooting ranges and stuff out there. And this is a Saturday night. So there's guns going off, and you start seeing eyeballs so we started booking it back. And so we get back, and then I think the two trails were kind of parallel to each other. And I could see the people over there. I'm looking on my watch, and I got a rough idea where I should be. And I didn't know where they're going to join. So I just kind of cut through the brush, which is never a good idea. And so this is probably at the 80K mark or something. And so I got a needle right into the little baby toe. I just kind of jammed in there, and I couldn't kind of get it. But it was just, those nagging things. You get that late in the race. And I said, I can't bend down and untie my shoes because I'm going to cramp up and I'm not going to get up. So you're kind of just running with this little thing poking in your toe, right? So all your other pains go away. So I ended up getting back on course, and so I ended up just under 16 hours. So I was thinking, everybody goes into, I should be like 14 and a half hours or something. I'm looking, you always check the entrance list, and there's a couple of people I know, and I said, I could probably do that. But because I kind of screwed up on the first half of the race, running a little too fast, getting caught up, and then that little detour going off into the bush, because I think we ended up turning a corner, and we go, oh, we can see the aid station, and because we kind of did a loop around, and I'm looking, going, that's not the next aid station, that's the one that we just left. And so we had been on the trail for probably 45 minutes already, so we knew that we had to get back off. So just one of those experiential things that until you do it, that's when learning really happens. So anyways, that's a long story of, what I took from Black Canyon.
Well, that's what I like, the fact that you said to stay focused, because if by doing a road race, let's say a marathon, you pretty much know about 5-10 minutes what you're going to do. But in an ultra running, any ultra running in the world, it's different, completely different. Desert runs to sky running, and you could get lost easy. You got to stay focused.
It started off 20 years ago, 2000, and it's a group of guys. They kind of took the template from the Bighorn in Wyoming, Ultra in Wyoming. And so we have some of the oldest awards available to man. So our awards are somewhere around 400 million years old. So the river rocks, right? And so they've been cooking and stuff out there for 400 million years. And so as a finisher, we have these etched rocks. And if you want to get it customized, you can get it customized after. But then we would pre-do all the rocks up. So now we can handle 320 runners between the 100 mile, 100K, and 50K. And so we start Friday. Friday's 100 mile and 100K. So the 100Ks finish, the 50Ks start on Saturday. Okay. So, and our course, it's a lot of single track, so it's not easy to pass. And so we just found, I think we went up to 350 one year because so many people were wanting them. And it was just, we could feel that extra 30 people on the course and in the aid stations. And so, because it's in that bell curve, those people in the middle, they kind of keep all moving together. And so we kind of settled on 320 total is our max. And so we usually sell out the first day. Elites don't come to it. It's more of a homecoming. And so we were sad when we had to miss the 1 year, because that's when we get to see all our friends, right? They all come back to town. It's a homecoming, and you get to kind of, enjoy their company again. And so it's a party we put on for our friends, and then we go to other races and they put on a party for us, right? And so then we get to be the customers.
What's the history behind the name?
So the Lost Soul. So Ron Bain, he started the running store in Lethbridge, Runner's Soul, and so he was one of the originators of this race. And then he also did the marathon. It was called Music for the Soul, and so the soul emphasis kind of came through. But also, when you're out there on this course, you're alone, right? And you don't pretty much every race, and because it's a large loop, it's a 50K loop, and the coulees, And there's other than the aid stations, so it's kind of like a 2 figure eights stacked. And so you there's a south loop, and in between another aid station, and then a north loop. And then you kind of come back. And so you bounce back and forth. So you'll see people at the aid station, but the course doesn't really mingle too much. And so when you're out there, you're kind of on your own, and that's part of the experience. And people, they kind of like that, that being alone. If you want to be with somebody, well, you just wait for a runner to come along and you run along with it. The 100 milers can have a pacer. The 100Ks can't. We were just finding there's too many people on the course because the 100K is a Western States qualifier.
Right.
And it's been for a long time. And so, it's, quote, an easy one. And so we have probably usually a dozen Americans will fly in for it. Now, one of the features is the host hotel. Our start finish line is in their back parking lot. So now that probably influences the DNF rate because you do a lap, right? You come back, and so it's now heat of the day. It's hot. My hotel room is right, like literally, it's 100 meters away. I can actually go and have a shower at a bed. So people actually will go in sometimes. The 100 milers, if they're moving quick enough, they'll go in and have a shower and a quick nap, and then come back out and race. We're within the city limits for the most of it, so it's easy access for like driving to the next aid station is like 5 minutes. So it's for the crews, they love it because you're not driving through country roads trying to find. So it's very crew friendly. Our aid stations have lots of room for the crews and stuff. So it's a more of a fun race, and we try and keep that aspect that it's more of an event as opposed to it's about times. And we're a small race. We've got a group of 4 race directors that are working really hard. So that's where the Lost Soul came from in the naming.
Now, you mentioned the pandemic, and obviously we all had to pivot through the pandemic. But what do you think are a few positives that have come out of the pandemic in terms of things you've changed in the event? Because we can think of a couple, but we want to hear what you have to say.
Probably one of the things is probably just the hygiene in the aid stations. Right? So now all the food.
Number one.
So now all the food, we try and keep lids on it. Nobody's, runners aren't putting their hands in the things. And so we actually came up with this idea. We just take coffee filters and we use that as the dish, right? Because you can have 500 coffee filters and the garbage ends up only being this much.
Yeah.
And so we put stuff into the coffee filters, and we have aid station volunteers now. And so we just buy those clear shoebox things from Home Depot. And so everything's in there with a lid on it. They can see it, but they're not sticking their hands. And so that part has helped. Probably just, some of the races, ours aren't a big deal with the waves because we don't have a ton of runners in each of the events. But I think some of the bigger races, they're doing the waves now, which really kind of creates a little bit of breathing space on the trails. And with our Lost Soul race, so we do the 50K Saturday, and the 100K 100 milers start Sunday. And it makes for a long weekend, but I can't imagine having all of those runners happening at the same time. Just, it would kind of take away from the atmosphere we're looking for, the Lost Soul atmosphere of, this is more of a personal endeavor.
What's your favorite part of the race, being a race director? What's your favorite part? For me personally, I just enjoy setting up the course.
Really, the part is just probably the chatting with the runners. And so I love hanging out at the aid station. I see people that I haven't seen for a year, and we have a quick little chat, help them out. Or there's a few people that, they're having a really low point, and you kind of talk them through it, and, they don't have a bone sticking out or anything. So I tell them okay, let's just walk together and let's get out of the aid station. I said, you run for 10 minutes. And if you don't like it, come back and we'll get your ride back in. We never see them, they just keep going. And so you get to see those stories. You get to experience the humanity at a race. Yeah. Just the connection with the people is my favorite part of the race.
Lost Soul again, that it's a Western States qualifier. I was wondering, how did that come about? How did you get Western States to be qualifying?
So I think because it's been around for so long, it was a qualifier before I came on. So So four of the other race directors, we've only been there for the past, since 2012 was our first race. So just over 10 years. And they had it before that. And I think because one of our race directors, Dave Watson, I think he got in touch back when it was probably easier to be a Western States qualifying race. Before it wasn't a big deal, right? I think is a qualifier and you probably had a 50% chance of getting in back in, the early days. So that might've been like early 2000s. So I don't know the history of that exactly, but it's maintained it. It was weird because it used to be you had to finish, and I think it was 16 hours, and which was tough, right, on our course. And then they I don't know if they relaxed some of the rules, and maybe it's because of our DNF rate, because I think they used a formula. And then they told us, no, it's 21 hours. You can have 21. I'm going, I don't really want that. So we were, and we used to let the 100K people run the same duration of time as the 100 milers. And so we got people running, they do a lap, go sleep for 8 hours and come back and race. And so it was kind of messing up so we said, no, now it's going to be 21 hours. So
is there any way that it's going to be eventually a golden ticket race?
I would say no. And we had a discussion about, should we have prize money out there? And I go, personally, I don't even know if I want to I don't want to be a race director if we're now putting prize money out there, because now that brings a whole level of administration you're going to have to do. And there's going to be people cutting courses and all. I said, no, I'm not into prizes. Although the winners get some pretty cool prizes. We have a lady that does rock art. And so it's a frame picture. And year round, she finds pebbles, and then she makes little figurines and landscapes out of these pebbles. And so if you win the male and female of the 3 distances, you get this. And so they're probably worth, I don't know, if you're buying them, they're about $100 a piece, but they're just beautiful pieces of art. And they kind of look like our coolies, but they're made with these little rock things. And so yeah, there's some prizes that people go for now. And probably the big one is the people that do 10 100-mile finishes at Lost Soul. They get a big rock. Like, this thing is probably 300 pounds. And it's not, and so you have to know somebody with a truck. And so we've now given out 4 of them. The first lady, Karen Johansson, she won it last year. And people are pretty impressed. So if you do the 10 100-milers, you now have to figure out where to plant this 300-pound rock. Yeah, we have people come to our race and they go, I'm going to have to leave this here. And so we actually go and we bury them on the course. Like, we actually dig them into the ground. So on the course, cool. You'll see some of the rocks that people have either donated, or some years we have extra. Like, we used to do the finisher rocks for top 3 in each category and each age group. And so we'd end up having, especially in the 100-mile, you only have 60 racers, maybe 30 finishers. So we have these extra rocks. So you'll see, 100-mile female, 4th or 3rd place age group, 50 to 50 or something. And so you'll see these planted out on the course in places.
That's fun. Well, lastly, let's talk about you as a coach. How long have you been coaching, and how did you get into that?
So I've been coaching formally for 10 years now. Kind of just as I was kind of retiring, I kind of got into coaching. Before that, I coached youth football and adaptive skiing, and for like 25 years. So I've kind of coached since I've been 22 years old. And then I just kind of got into this. And I guess because people started asking me, and I was just more of a student of the, trying to figure out how to, training plans and stuff. And then people had asked me. So I kind of formulated it into a small business. And so it's kind of my side gig. And I could probably only handle about 15 full-time coached athletes. It's about my max, because more than that, I start getting confused. People start looking the same, and trying to. And so 12 to 15 is kind of comfort level, and then I get a whole bunch of people that I kind of coach towards independence. It's a terrible business model, but I kind of say, I'm going to teach you some stuff, and at some point, you won't need me anymore, because then you'll leave and then somebody else will come in. And so a lot of those people, they just get training plans from me, because I know them. And so they said, Dean, I'm planning this race. Just tell me what to do for the next 3 months. And so I probably have at any one time 20 to 30 people in training plans that I don't monitor them. I just kind of give them a training plan, and then I usually see them out in the trails, and then I get probably a half and half. A lot of my clients are both road runners in the winter, and they'll run a spring race, and then they're trail runners in the fall. And so that's kind of how I work.
Some of your athletes must be trying to get into Western States. Is that?
Yeah, trying to get into Western States, Hard Rock. I got a couple of athletes that getting into Western States is easy. I actually had my first one running Western States this year, and so
who can that be?
Oh, I wonder who that is.
Have you talked to Chelsea yet?
Yeah, we talked to Chelsea 2 days ago.
Seriously, because I heard.
The funny thing is, you'll have to thank her because we asked her for some dirt, and she didn't
dirt
give,
on you,
and she didn't give us anything.
I'm writing her training plan, and I can put those nasty workouts in. Right
there, you go. I think that was self-preservation.
And people like Chelsea. So some athletes, they just outsource their running to me. They don't want there. She's busy. She's an OBGYN. She got no time for anything. She's Dean. Here's what I want to do. Here's when I can't run. Just put it in the calendar, and whatever I put in there, she just pretty much does, unless, some other stuff. So I know when she's on call, when she's, going to her mom's place, that kind of stuff. And so I'm just kind of an outsourced employee of hers. And we've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now, I think.
That's awesome.
Wow, we touched on all bases. This is awesome.
And where can people find you for your coaching, Dee?
I'm rundeanrun.ca. I took that from the best running movie ever, Run Fat Boy Run, that English movie with Simon Pegg.
Yes.
I think I got into it just after watching that movie, and so I call my website rundeanrun.ca, and I'm just rundean@gmail.com, and Rundean on Twitter, and I think I got Rundean for most of the stuff.
Well, we like to end our podcast with a little rapid fire.
You know about that.
You know about it.
I knew.
You know what's coming.
I didn't prep though.
All right, here we go. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Butter tarts with or without raisins?
Chocolate preferred if I had to, without raisins.
Oh, you're making good friends here with Nora.
You are now my new best friend.
What's your favorite carb?
Favorite carb is probably either chocolate or salt and vinegar chips. Both of those are my two go-to foods on the trail.
Can you find salt and vinegar chips in the States now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they have them? Okay.
They don't have ketchup down here.
No.
That's the one that people look for.
They're lost. What's another sport you'd like to excel in?
Probably golf. Golf with my buddies in the summertime, and maybe not the time. I just need to be able to outdrive them.
That's a frustrating sport.
What's your worst habit?
Worst habit is probably just reading an article, on the web, and then clicking all the links, and then my browser is filled up with like 5 or 10 more, 20 more links that now I've got to sit down, and my browser has like 80 open links, and I got to sit down and read through them, because you read one article and that spins off to 5 others. So that's a wormhole I can't get out of.
That's Norman is having a bunch of apps open on his phone. Drives me bananas.
Just flipping it off.
Have you run at your bucket list race yet?
Wow. Boston was the big one. It took me like 3 or 4 years to qualify for it, and getting there.
What stage races? Stage races like the Trans Rocky?
I don't know if I agree with you. The Trans Rockies, I was watching that and I go, that would be cool, because you just go, you run, have a beer and meal. They have the tents there for you. Okay. I'd probably do the Trans Rockies, but I'm a little too cheap. So when are you guys coming to Lost Soul?
Well,
if it wasn't a Western year,
and it's on our Island Lake Classic weekend.
Yeah, so. we have a race on the same weekend.
Okay.
So
We'll never
So when
see
we
you.
retire from race directing, we'll be out there.
Or you have to change the weekend because of permits or something. So yeah, and you're right. We're on a weekend that there's a bunch of big U.S. races happening that same weekend, like Wasatch and I don't know, a bunch of others. So it's the weekend following the long weekend. It's always busy.
But hey, if you're ever in Ontario, perhaps you could line up with one of our events.
Yeah. My sister-in-law, she's there right now. I'm not sure if we're going back. She's moving back to Lethbridge next summer. So, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
If we...
Well, thanks again.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be cheering on your gal at Western. Norm's going to the camp,
I'm going to the camp and hope to run with her for about 2 minutes at Western States.
She is fast.
All right,
Anyways,
take care.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Cheers. Bye.
Doesn't that make you want to do Lost Soul Ultra now?
Yes, geez.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. It's a great history of Canada. It's been around for such a long time. And it's never ending running in the coulees. You're going up, you're going down, you're going up, you're going down.
Yeah.
So you got to really train.
Deceivingly hard.
Yeah, you got to really train for this thing. But the end, you get across the finish line, you get yourself a Western States ticket. So I say, hey, why not? Let's do this thing.
Absolutely.
And he's quite the runner himself. The guy goes and does Black Canyon, and now he's getting his feet wet into the longer distance of trail running.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's done a lot of shorter distance trails as well, which we didn't get into because we didn't have the time, but he does have quite an extensive running career.
Yeah, and you can check him out at his website.
Yeah, you can check him out at rundeanrun.ca.
Cool. Till next time, cheers.